Okay, cool. That should be everything. So cool. Thank you all for joining. Welcome to another AIE working group call. We have an agenda for a change that's nice. I think it's all familiar faces on the call, so I'm not going to ask anyone to introduce themselves. But cool. The initial item on the agenda, who added this? I don't see a name. Van, did you add it by any chance?
Hi. So I filed the first PR for hardening the Web 115. So this one is for the generic hardening, filling some gaps and make the NUMA alignment more stable before we letting more features supporting the Grace Blackwell. Uh, so yeah, it doesn't introduce any grade specific, so it's more generic.
Awesome. And yeah, I noticed that um, the multi expander bus stuff that you had in 1.7 was missing initially from your plan, but is this introducing it but just aligning with NUMA nodes? Is that the suggestion? Sorry.
In this PR, we wanted to keep the currently one expander bus per NUMA cell. So minimum of the changes in the current model. In the later, when we do the VAP 199, we needed to switch that expander bus per GPU as it fits the Grace Blackwell.
Cool. Okay, yeah, that's what we found with our branch as well. Okay, cool. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
To check. I mean, Lee, you had a PR to handle this. Was it only for the EIE branch, or did it trickle down to KubeVirt as well?
But it sounds like, yeah, we're going to implement the same thing eventually here as well as part of this in KubeVirt.
So maybe we should just do it in one PR.
Yeah, if I can do it generically.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Yeah.
Do
Just
you want to adding the multi-expander bus in this PR?
if it's not too much. I mean, it's just a review bandwidth, in the mental, some kind of a holding mental model.
Yeah, because that is a Grace IO virtualization specific, so I would like to put that under the gate, the feature gate of the Grace IO virtualization. That's why I wanted add it in the later PR. What do you think?
Uh, I think it's just a fix. I mean, to me, just a bug that we didn't do it correctly in the first place. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, the multi-expander bus thing was more a requirement. I thought with Grace and um,
Yeah.
mm,
Okay.
you could yeah. There's a case that it could be generic as well, I guess, but um, yeah,
I
Can
because
mean,
you,
go on.
if we are doing, I mean, if we have to specify SMMU and the other things, per GPU, and then it just to me it sounds like it's wrong to do anything different.
Yeah, mm, I yeah. So my understanding that the multi-expanded bus per devices that is required for the Grace Blackwell using the SLMU, IMU, IO, MMU devices. So that should be a bundle. Should do we need to land it in here or in a separate PR?
Separate for each
Yeah,
device, right? I
let's.
mean, it's not just a requirement for GPUs; it's just in general, right?
Yeah, in general for yeah, so in general for any SMMU using the SSMU.
Okay, yeah,
I
never
think it'd
mind.
be a bit.
Let's do
I
this
think,
again.
yeah, I think it's a bit of a stretch to kind of include it in this PR, but we can do it generically in a follow-up PR that isn't behind the Grace feature gate potentially, because it is a generic thing that we should potentially be doing on ARM64 with SMMU v3. Like, yeah, that does make sense. It's not just a case of cherry picking what I did on the AIE branch though, Vladik, because that's already kind of very specific to that branch, that implementation there. So it's, yeah, there'll still be a bit of work potentially to make it generic enough to land on KubeVirt.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Uh let me let me think about what we can do. We can continue the discussion in the PR.
But so, Fran, this is part of your the bigger document that you produced, right? This is part of that plan. So the upstreaming plan, right?
Yeah. Okay, so so what's the actions?
To the folks
So
on
let
the
me
call
just
that it's sorry,
yeah,
Vladik, go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry. I mean, well, you also must look at the schedule. I mean, from today we have what, a month to finish all the work before the code freeze. So I think if we really want to land all of this work, we have to be laser focused on what's really important for to supporting this platform. So I mean, I'm a little bit worried.
Okay, so we are plan. My thought was there are a few PRs and which we are aiming to land all these PRs before the deadline. Does that make sense? Is that did that scope everything? The most important scopes?
I think what Vladik's trying to highlight is that this is quite a lot of work, and like with the IOM and UFD Foundation PR, for example, like from our side, I think Federico, you already had the VEP for this, right? For this cycle. So this is something that you're going to deliver.
Uh, can you repeat, please?
Right. So the proposal from Fan here for upstreaming into KubeVirt main of all the work that's happened on the AIE branches, like the generic IO, MMU, FD work,
Yeah,
you had a specific
yeah,
VEP for this in 1.9, yeah? Yeah.
yeah. The plan is
Okay.
to merge it. I mean, it should not be actually very difficult. It's very confined changes. So, I mean,
Okay. And
I
then
simply
hang on.
to ask to sync with Vladik because I probably got that he wants to work on it, but I mean, we can do it quite fast.
Cool.
Okay.
And that can happen in parallel to this initial PR and potentially
Yep.
to the third PR and fourth PRs. Like the third PR is just schema introductions that are going to be wired up later on by the look of it. And the fourth one is also pretty straightforward. So I think from our point of view, because there's not a huge amount of time left in the cycle, like we can obviously help out. Like Federico is owning up the IO MMUFD kind of side of things. yeah, in terms of the rest of it, like I think that we should be pushing to get as much posted for review as possible at one time, and or asking for help from others to get things moving really, because we can't just work through this serially. I guess that's kind of the concern from Vladik here, that posting one PR at a time is just going to lead to us running out of time.
So how do you split the how would you split the PR3 and the PR2? Because they have some sort of overlap in handling the XML.
Yes. I thought this was just schema though. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're actually providing here. If it's more than schema, if it's actual logic and stuff that's consuming, yeah, because it's going to be wiring up IOM and UFD, I guess. But even then, we can still get things posted in draft while Federico works on his side of things, or even based on top of Federico's work. We just need to get more things posted in parallel at the moment. I'm unfortunately going to be away for 3 weeks. That's not going to help with this effort as well, because I can't just go in and pick some of the stuff up and help you move it forward for those 3 weeks. Yeah, Vladik, I'm putting words in your mouth here, mate. Is that what you were kind of getting at, that going through this one by one isn't going to work?
Yeah, well, I'm concerned about timing. Really, this is something that's very problematic. We could start with whatever is out there. I'm not sure what is the second. The IMMU creation, like the part that goes into Virt Handler, it's really minimal. Right, we have this already as a device plugin. We just need to put it in inside the Virt Handler. Right, this is the PR2 that I'm referring to, and then we have to get all the new schema that we didn't have into Virt Launcher. So I think that would be the first thing, and then the second thing is the discovery of everything that we need to configure, and then communication with the device plugin. So I think the majority of things are already kind of written inside the 1.8 branch of the AIE. We just need to make it we just need to split it into PRs and add tests and such. The problem is that in 10 days, I also want to. I don't know how much time will I be able to dedicate to this, but I think we really need to push.
Okay. Yeah, it's difficult in terms of path forward then. Like, do we have volunteers on the call who can help out, push forward some of this, or even just jump in and own up an additional section to what Federico's doing already? Like, Vladik, in the next 10 days, are you going to have any bandwidth for this at all, or?
I can definitely help with reviews, unless you want me just to implement it. then I can do it. But if it's just pieces, then I could take some pieces and implement it. But if Fan is implementing, then I can help review. But again, I mean, we need to stick to the plan and get the PRs out quite fast.
Okay, so I can volunteer if needed to create the PR for review for the PR3. We can add the schema changes. I think the schema changes doesn't need to be dependent on the IOM UFD PR, right?
Yeah, it just the schema is the first thing. The IMMUFD part, either Federico or me will do it. And this is go ahead.
I mean, yeah, Radek, sorry, I can do that on starting from next week. Of course, I can start with that.
Yeah, so if we can handle 2 and 3 early next week, and then towards the end of the week to switch to 4 and 5, to 4 at least, then that would be great.
Cool. And even 5 and 6, getting that kind of stuff posted as draft, as led PRs or something, would be good if we could, even get that far by the next call. That would be great, and then we could refine. We could just then work on the last little bit of it to get over the line before the deadline. Okay. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns with that initial plan? I'm not going to be around in 2 weeks to run the call, so I will need someone to do that part in 2 weeks, because it sounds like we will need to meet to talk about this. But yeah, just from that initial rundown, anything else that folks want to talk about, especially?
No, no, I'll review Fans PR today. And I think Lubo is also missing. Maybe Lubo can run the call. I know Jet doesn't like us.
That's cool. I'll shoot him a message now asking him to do that. That would be appreciated. Cool. I did notice as well, the CentOS Stream 10 support that we were going to introduce in 1.9 is well, it's there, but we're not having any coverage now. Are we looking to test any of this stuff initially, with any kind of special lanes consuming libvirt or QEMU from AIE or wherever fan, or is that out of scope for alpha initially? Because we're not going to have an environment to run against, so this would just be running the existing generic ARM64 lanes or something to exercise this stuff a little bit, as much as we can. That wouldn't be a huge amount, but yeah, is that all out of scope for alpha and something that we'll have to look into in the future if and when we get hardware?
Sounds good. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Valad.
No, I was just curious. Sally, are you saying that I'm just worried about the schema. The schema, is it in? Do we need to update libvirt to get the new schema, or is it all in there already?
Yeah. I had the same question. So I wanted to ensure that which libvirt QEMU RPM version we are going to use. Because I noticed, I think I noticed that there is difference between the because our branch AIE branch using the NVIDIA GitHub open source the libvirt and the QEMU, so that is different than the ones you might have in the stream. So
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Sorry. I guess we are going to have some lanes. Can we even guard that stuff with a feature gate? So when a specific kind of part of the schema is introduced or not introduced in our code, can we gate that?
We have we are using some kind of a builder pattern, and that builder pattern basically, if we could isolate these all changes into into a specific builder, then yes, then we could enable the feature gate, and that builder will be added.
Okay.
But if not, then I don't know. Actually, this is something that Federico and I were discussing early at the one point, early at the beginning when we started this AI. How can we isolate all of these changes into something isolated? And I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now.
Okay.
What do you
Well,
think,
yeah.
Federico?
Sorry, go on.
Same page. They know as well.
Okay, maybe I'll try to take a look at this today. So you're saying that we're not going to get a different libvirt that would contain all of this, because I thought that
Yeah.
regardless of Rail 10, CentOS 10, I thought that this libvirt and the new schema will appear on the 9 versions as well.
No, I don't think it's going to make it back to 9. And I don't think it's there at the moment as well. Most of this stuff, they're still upstreaming it from what I know. And we probably do need a way of just building against. I would recommend that we go with the AIE libvirt at the moment, and not the NVIDIA branch or anything, because ultimately with the Red Hat version, that is the thing that's being upstreamed, or at least there's an effort to upstream it from there. It comes from the NVIDIA branch, but then it's changed and upstreamed as part of the Red Hat side. So I'd recommend we build against that, because auto and stuff like that's going to appear there first. And potentially by the time that this FeatureGate GAs, maybe that's part of the GA criteria for this, is that you can use just vanilla libvirt or something to use to build it. But what I was suggesting before with the CentOS side of things is we just the jobs weren't going to just transition across to CentOS 10 automatically, and so if we did want to kind of have an environment to test this in, you would have to switch over to 10 and then also consume these builds as well for end-to-end testing. But then, yeah, even for building and unit testing and everything, we're going to have to potentially have lanes that are based on 10 and are pulling in the AIE bits anyway, so that the schema is actually there. The schema that we need to test this is actually there.
Yeah, so for the AIE, our NVIDIA working branch, we wrote two documents. Let the customers or users let the users to build the RPM from the NVIDIA libvirt and QEMU branches, and provided instructions how to use that to create the customize the repo, RPM repo, wiring that are built RPMs, and for building their KubeVirt images. So that's the way we let the users use NVIDIA libvirt QEMU.
Yeah, and we can document something similar for alpha. I think that's fine for alpha. Probably by beta we'll need something. The changes will need to be in vanilla, I think, potentially by beta, for us to move to the feature gate there, and beyond to GA thinking about it. But yeah, in terms of end users consuming an alpha feature gate and having to kind of rebuild images, pulling in from different repos, I think we can handle that. We could even have just an environment variable that for KubeVirt that would just for Bazel that would pull in the right RPMs and everything into the build. So like that's also doable and pretty transparent. But yeah, if we end up using AIE initially for this stuff, it's just going to have to be CentOS Stream 10 based. That's not the end of the world, but it's just not the default. That's what I was trying to get at before.
Yeah, okay. I agree. So for the CentOS stream, does it contain all the necessary support for supporting Grace?
So the AIE SIG compos do. So yeah, we can definitely wire that up as part of this effort. Yeah, I'm not going to be about for 3 weeks. That sucks because I could have helped with this quite quickly. Yeah, whoever kind of tackles this the libvirt schema side of things is probably going to have to run into this and start thinking about how to do it. I would, yeah. There's already examples in Tree, especially with CentOS Stream 10, of using environment variables to control build time behavior and where we're pulling things in from, and we could just extend that to have another environment variable that would pull in the required bits, during the build. There, I'm doing something similar for the cross architecture feature as well, because that pulls in the QEMU emulators for certain architectures into the build, just as an alpha thing. So yeah, I think there's loads of examples out there. So hopefully by the time I get back, something's been figured out. But if it isn't figured out, I can jump on it then, definitely. I'm just gonna write some quick notes down. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns, or anything with this initial plan for the next 2 weeks? In terms of just coordination and everything with this effort, Fan, could you just ping Vladik? You've put your hand up, and Federico. Could you ping them in the upstream channel when the PRs are ready, just to make sure they're aware when the additional things arrive? And Federico, even if you ping Fan to say when your implementation PRs for the IO MMUFD stuff is posted as well, that just to give each side awareness that things are posted instead of just relying on GitHub notifications or something.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool, awesome. All right, folks. Well, we've got a rough plan, I guess, for the next 2 weeks. Hopefully I come back from PTO and everything's done, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, hopefully we can get some stuff landing and moving in the right direction.
Well, by the way, when do you start PTO?
In about 5 minutes. It's 2 weeks of PTO and then I've got a week of meetings. So the third week I will be kind of around, but being berated by managers. Unfortunately, it's that kind of meeting. So yeah, I won't have too much time to work on this, unfortunately. But if and when I get a chance in that third week, I will try and help out. And I'll also be there with Lubo so I can get a rundown of what's happened in the last 2 weeks. Cool. All right, folks. Thank you all for joining. If there's nothing else, I will end the meeting now, and I will catch you all in 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks all. Bye.